What if every frustration you face today wasn't just noise, but a signal? Picture this. You're in line at your favorite coffee shop. The card reader freezes again. The barista sighs. The line groans. Phones come out, heads drop. But someone in that same line doesn't look down. They look around. They start wondering, not why does this happen, but why does it still happen? That person isn't a genius. They're just paying attention. That's the real spark of innovation. Attention. We think ideas strike like lightning, but they don't. They flicker like static, tiny sparks of friction, until someone pays attention long enough to turn one into fire. Some of the best ideas don't start with a breakthrough, they start with a small, persistent itch. There has to be a better way to transact, a better way to execute, a better way to play, a better way to teach, a better way to be. Because progress doesn't begin with answers, it begins with the courage to question the obvious. And when you start asking those questions, the world holds up a mirror. You start seeing your habits, your routines, your tiny frictions reflected back at you. Some reflections sting, others inspire, but all of them whisper the same challenge: look closer. And in this new world, you have a partner built for paying attention: AI. It doesn't dream for you, it helps you see what you've been missing. I call it lens shifting. You feed it your problems, your complaints, your voice notes, and suddenly it shows you patterns you didn't know were there. Because what you're feeling isn't frustration, it's friction. And friction is the birthplace of innovation. You don't need a $1 billion team. You need curiosity, discipline, and a thinking partner that never sleeps. That's what we're exploring today, the art of noticing better. You've probably had one of those days where something small keeps breaking and everyone just shrugs. That's the quiet tragedy of modern life. We adapt to inefficiency faster than we try to fix it. You don't have to chase big ideas, you just have to slow down long enough to notice the small ones repeating themselves. Because every complaint hides a concept, every inefficiency hides an insight. Every moment of, why is it still like this, hides a blueprint for what comes next. So here's the shift. You don't need to find ideas, you need to notice them. Ideas are built from observation and reframing, and not imagination alone. The question isn't, can I come up with something new? It's, can I look at what exists and see it differently? Asking better questions is what separates ideation from irritation. When you observe, you collect friction. When you reframe, you convert it into fuel. When you build, you give that energy a direction. That's how Examnasium began. Back then, I was tutoring students for standardized tests. Every week I hit the same wall. There just weren't enough high quality practice questions. And even when my students knew the content, they still froze when it mattered. Those two patterns, scarcity of material and test anxiety, kept repeating. One night I wrote in my notes, what if the problem isn't comprehension but confidence? That simple reframe changed everything. I started building Examnasium to generate unlimited adaptive practice questions and simulate exam conditions that train calm under pressure. Observation showed the pain. Limited questions and rising anxiety. Reframing turned that frustration into a design challenge. Then AI joined the process as an accelerator. It helped me generate new questions instantly, adjust difficulty, and craft feedback that sounded human, not cold. Examnasium wasn't born in a lab. It was built in the space between preparation and panic, shaped by empathy, scaled by technology. It wasn't about smarter software, it was about helping students feel seen in a system that rarely does. That's what happens when you learn to idea. You start seeing the world not as it frustrates you, but as it invites you. And the more you practice that kind of noticing, the more AI becomes a mirror, not a master. Creativity doesn't begin with inspiration, it begins with attention. This week, don't chase a breakthrough, chase a better question. What everyday problem around you hides an opportunity no one's noticed yet? Journal it, talk it through with AI. Let curiosity lead the conversation instead of pressure. And if you want to go deeper into how breakthroughs actually form, read Where Good Ideas Come From by Stephen Johnson. He shows how innovation is rarely a lightning bolt moment. It's a slow accumulation of connected hunches across time. Johnson calls it the adjacent possible. the space of ideas that becomes visible only after you take one step beyond what already exists. That's exactly what we're doing here each week, standing at the edge of what exists, using AI as our flashlight to see a little further into the adjacent possible. Read it, reflect on it, and I'll see you next episode, the ORCT cycle. If this episode sparked something for you, a question, an idea, or a reminder that you're not building alone, follow, share, or tag someone who needs this spark too. Because every builder needs reflection, and every reflection creates a ripple. Let's keep turning ideas into impact. One post, one project, one person at a time. And if you're here on YouTube, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and pass it forward. Because every builder needs a spark. And sometimes that spark is just one story, one reflection away. Together, we'll make idea to impact the new standard for creators everywhere. You've been watching From Idea to Impact with AB, because the future doesn't belong to those with the best ideas. It belongs to those who notice them first.